Hey, horror fans. Once again, it is me, the Horror Money G. I'm a little late with this particular video because I like to get this video out at least by the third week of June. But unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts and other things happening, I couldn't get this video out until now. But the year is half over and is now the time to do my top five best and top five worst horror films of 2024 so far.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, horror fans, once again, it is me, the Horror Money. Now, 2024 began began a bit slow because we had some very bad horror films that came out right there, obviously with Night Swim and Imaginary, and then of course Madam Web. But then we finally picked up with some decent horror films that have come out, obviously with Immaculate. Everyone was shocked about how good the first Omen was, and of course Abigail. And obviously, recently with a Quiet Place, Day One, that's come just recently come out, and everyone's really fast and really saying that's a real great horror film. So I'm actually considered it even better than the first two films. But like I said before, we have some great horror films that come out so far and have had some stinkers. So let's go on ahead and see what I have picked for the top five best and top five worst horror films so far this year. Now, of course, this is what I have seen so far. There's some other movies I have not seen that might be on this list. I haven't seen them so far this year. Could be on my top 10 list by the end of this year, but this is my list and what I consider to be the top five best and top five worst. And of course, as always, I start off with the bad ones. So, coming in at number five, we have Skeletons in the Closet. Now, I don't know what's going on, but I guess some people have to pay the bills. And so we have stars like Terrence Howard and Cuba Gooding Jr., who are pretty good actors, by the way. I don't know why they started this crappy movie. And Terrence Howard, he actually produced this one. it's sickening. It's a very terrible movie. It really wasn't that scary. It has to do with Terrence Howard's character and his wife. Their daughter is have some type of terminal illness. They're trying to make some deal with some spirit to keep her alive, and of course, weird stuff happens after that. It's not even scary. Very bad practical effects. Oh man, this is terrible. Sometimes you feel sorry for some people and for some actors when they have to make films like this. But coming in at number five is Skeletons in the Closet. Coming in at number four, we have Imaginary. Yes, this film, everyone thought it might have a chance, but again, it was rated PG-13, and sometimes you can get some good ones, but not this one. This has to deal with DeWanda Wise, who actually was pretty good in Jurassic World Dominion. I believe she was in that one. She plays a woman who decides to go back to her childhood home, and unfortunately, we have this imaginary bear named Chauncey. There was some good aspects about this particular film. Almost thought it had a chance, but then again, it went down the rabbit hole, and it was just a very bad movie. It could have had a chance, but then again, what are you going to do? I really wanted this to be successful, but coming in at number four is Imaginary. And here, coming in at number three, we have Night Swim. Boy, you want to talk about starting the year off right. Again, excellent. I had an excellent premise because we really don't see horror movies that have a swimming pool as a cursed object. Uh, the premise was kind of good, but then again, very not good. Great character writing. The scares are very nonchalant. You get the big noise. Acting was not good. Terrible practical effects. The reasoning behind it just didn't make any sense, and a very terrible ending. What are you going to do? Just very, very bad, 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 bad. Not the worst, though. There's a movie that was worse than this. So coming in at number three is Night Swim. Coming in at number two, we have Tarot. Yes, I actually thought it was actually going to be pretty good because it had a good premise. We really haven't seen tarot cards used before, but then again, it's a typical PG-13 setup where we have a bunch of young people. They decide to play with a tarot card that they don't know what they're doing, and it turns out that this was a cursed deck. And of course, their fates actually come true in a bad way, not in a good way. Oh man, very very terrible practical effects. The third act, you couldn't see anything because it was dark as shit. Actually had a could have been a decent PG-13 horror film, but they decided to not pull any punches. And it's sad too because one of the stars in this particular film, he actually stars in Reginald the Vampire, and that third act at the end of the film was totally unbelievable. It actually goes against what they were doing in the film, and that's what made it even worse. So coming in at number two is Tarot. Now, the number one worst horror film so far this year, and that is The Strangers Chapter 1. Now, I actually was looking forward to this one because it's supposed to be the start of a trilogy. And, other than the couple being a decent couple, they're younger, they actually are in love as opposed to how the first movie was. This is actually almost a beat for beat of the first movie. The things that they do in this film happened in the first one. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought there's going to be something a little bit different. It's supposed to be how Saghead, Dollface, and Pinup Girl become, but we don't get that. We just get the same movie we got in the, I think it was 2018. I forget when The Strangers first came out. But yeah, whatever we got in that film, we got in Strangers Chapter 1. There's no difference here other than this couple is happy. But the same thing happens all the time. I said, "What are you guys doing? This is the same shit that happened before." I mean, there was one particular scene where they're trying to hide from the strangers, and I knew exactly what was going to happen because it happened in the first film. I said, "Please don't go there. Please don't go there." And they went there. I said, "Oh crap." So I knew I was going to put this on my list. I did what's going to be number one because I really wanted to put Madam Web as number one, just how bad that movie was. But unfortunately, since it's not really a horror film, I couldn't put it on here. So coming in at number one is Strangers Chapter 1. All I can say is let's just hope they do a better job because they still have two more movies coming out later this year because they filmed all the movies back to back. So we don't know when the second and third one is going to be released. Let's just hope they make up for it in the second and third films. So now that we got all the bad stuff out of the way, let's go and talk about my top five horror films of this year. We start with number five, and that is stop motion. Now, when I first saw the trailer, I actually believe I did a trailer reaction on it. I was very impressed because I'm a fan of huge stop motion. Obviously, a fan of Ray Harryhausen, the stop motion king. I love all the movies that he's did. So I was looking forward to seeing a stop motion film that has been used in quite a while. I was very impressed with this particular film. The star of the film, I don't know if pronouncing her name right, is Ansing Panchosi. She was in the film The Nightingale, and she does a fantastic job as a lead performer. She stars as the daughter of a famous stop motion animator who unfortunately passes away, and then she's trying to take over her mother's project. And unfortunately, the starts blurring the lines between reality and imaginary, and they do a fantastic job. There's some very trippy scenes in this particular film, great practical effects, great stop motion effects. Really enjoyed this film. So if you have not seen stop motion, please take a look at it. It's a great film. So that is coming in at number five is stop motion. Coming in at number four, it is the French film Infested. Yes, this is one of the two spider infested movies. Well, actually, spider horror films that came out. The other one was Sting, but I like this one better. I had some great time with Sting, but I believe Infested is better. We have the main character, I forget his name, the main character. He eventually buys this spider because he sells a bunch of stuff on the black market in his nice apartment building, but unfortunately the spider multiplies so much and eventually starts infecting the whole entire apartment building. I thought all the characters did a fantastic job. There's some great practical spider effects. Almost just as good as some of the other, almost just as good as arachnophobia when it comes to spiders. So if you do suffer from arachnophobia, I don't think I would recommend this film because it's going to scare you. I really did enjoy this film. So coming in at number four is Infested. So coming in at number three, it is the vampire film Abigail. Oh, everyone was looking forward to this one. It stars Melissa Barrera from Scream. This was the first movie that she did outside of the Scream franchise after all the craziness that happened during last year. No one to go into that. I thought she did a very grand, fantastic job as a main character, Joey. Alicia Ware, that plays a child vampire Abigail. I thought she was fantastic in the particular film. Kevin Durant, he was good. Obviously, Dan Stevens, he was great as the particular bad guy in this particular film. This is a great film, very fantastic practical effects. Really love this vampire film. So coming at number three is Abigail. Not really had the fight between these two, but coming in at number two is The First Omen. Now, when the first Omen came out, everyone was like, "Do we really need a First Omen? What you guys doing? Do we need a prequel?" As good as The Omen was, and why are you going to create a prequel? I didn't really understand what they were trying to do, but after seeing the movie, I was very, very impressed. They did a fantastic job. I mean, it really should be no surprise that Tiger Lily Free, who was great in Servant, is great in the lead character of the role. I love the plot. I loved acting. I love some of the typical scareness that we have in this particular film, and the obviously plot that they have, which I won't reveal here, is very impressive. Kind of shows you how Damon came to be. That's basically what I said. If you haven't seen the film, very impressive, very surprised. If there was a prize hit of the year, it is The First Omen, and that comes in at number two. So right now, obviously, I think most people will understand that the number one horror film for me is Immaculate. Very, very fine film. Sydney Sweeney stars in the lead role right here as a novice nun. She's going into this. She's been picked to go to this convent in Italy where they take care of nuns on their dying day in the hospice, and something miraculous happens to her. And that's basically all I can say. And of course, there's some deep conspiracy going on in that particular coven. And very fantastic movie. I always see some interesting effects that take place in this particular film. Everyone does a fantastic job, especially when we learn the whole purpose of what's going on and what's so important about Sydney Sweeney. I really did enjoy the film. She's a great actress. Really did enjoy the film. That's why it is my best film of the year so far, best horror film of 2024. I'm pretty sure that it might be topped, but right now that is my number one film so far this year. So there you have it, guys. That is my top five best and top five worst horror films of the year. Obviously, we have some more horror films coming up. Obviously, we have Maxine that's coming out this weekend. This weekend, I'll be seeing that as well. We have Nosferatu that's coming out in Christmas. Obviously, we have Terrifier 3 that's coming out in October. There are some other horror films that are also coming out this year that I'm looking forward to see. And so we'll have to wait to see if these films will remain on my top five or come on my top 10. And there might be some other worst horror films that will top of the Strangers Chapter 1. We'll have to see what happens during the rest of the year. So there you have it, horror fans. That is my video for today. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button, ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as a Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember that horror rules. And I see you in my next video. That guy, stay safe out there.